Hello, everybody. It's Gary Stuckey with Real Music. Hope you're doing okay wherever you are today. Got a great guest lined up for you. Guitarist Jack Griffith of Novo Combo is here. That awesome 80s rock band. They're celebrating their reunion in a new album. A new album called 45 West 55th. Released on Friday, October the 18th on Wild Roots Records. Pretty good album. You need to check it out. We're going to talk about it and their history. A lot of cool guys in the band. You got Stephen Dees on lead vocals and bass. Of course, Jack Griffith on lead guitar. Pete Hewlett on vocals and guitar. And drummer Michael Shreve. You know that guy. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee. He was with Santana. Some great stories today I think you'll enjoy. And lots to talk about. So listen up and enjoy. So here we go. Here he is. Here's Jack Griffith.
Hey Gary, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Okay.
How you doing, Jack?
Can you hear me okay? See me okay?
I can hear you. I can't see you yet.
I don't see me at all.
Yeah. You're
Oh,
hiding
here
in
it
the
is.
darkness.
I think I need to start video. Okay, there I
There
go.
he is.
Cool. So how you doing, mate?
Well, I've been recovering from a injury, like my back went out and my
Oh,
hip and all this stuff. So I've been laid up for a while.
bummer. That's no
But
good.
yeah, I'm trying to get better. I'm kind of propped up right now, but
You're still
I'm
working it anyway, right?
that's right, because you're worth it, my friend.
Oh, thank
Uh,
you. Thank
that's
you.
all. No, I've been listening to the music, and we're gonna talk about that. And I know you're excited about everything that's going on. Well,
I really am. Yeah.
right. Um, the album 45 West 55th. Now, what
Yeah.
does that mean exactly?
Well, that's where we lived. That was Michael's apartment. And I met them in Miami, Florida. And then we all moved into Michael's apartment. And so for like the first 6 months, we all stayed in that apartment together.
Wow.
Yeah, rehearsed every day, and oh, it was a great place. Big, nice, very nice place in Manhattan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could people do that today? Stay in one spot for that long and not kill each other?
Well, good question. It wasn't that bad, man. We got along great. Plus, we were playing music. We practiced every day.
Yeah.
So it was by the time we got back to the place, we were tired and just wanted to relax. But it was really pretty cool. Yeah, good times.
Well, this new album though, just released a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, I guess. Um, well, tell me about you know, the idea of this new album and how it came together. How did all the idea of this project come together?
Well, I don't know. I think we all just felt like we had some unfinished business that we had to deal with. And uh, Stephen was reviewing some of the music, and I think we all kind of like it all just kind of happened at the same time. We were all going, this is really great music. People should hear this. And so Stephen started searching his files, and a friend of his had passed, and so he was trying to find all this music. And so as he was going through it, he found all this early Novo stuff that we'd cut and had in the can.
Yeah.
And so we just all got together on the idea and released it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a long time coming, right? How many years has it been since y'all had played together?
More than 30. It's been a long time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, so it was good to go back and listen to some of the stuff and kind of revisit those days, right?
Yeah. We had such a good time, and in a short period of time, we really made an impact. Uh, we made quite an impression in New York City anyway. We played every venue in New York City. And it was just good, and we just all knew it, and we just wanted to get it out there. Um,
In a place like New York, you have all these bands. I know that I've read in the bio, they're coming to check you out, like Kiss or somebody or
oh
Aerosmith,
yeah,
right?
everybody. I tell you honestly, every guitar player and a famous guitar player. Everybody I know, every time I played the city, man, they were out. They were in the crowd checking us out. I was
Right.
always kind of nervous, look out there and see Pete Townsend or Jagger. Oh, you know,
Just casually out there jamming to y'all. I
yeah,
mean, that's
yeah,
that's got to
it's true.
say something to the talent. There's a lot of talented guys in this band, with Pete, and Stephen, and Michael, and
Yeah,
years and
really.
years touring with all kinds of people and playing with people. That's you had to look back on those days and go, we accomplished a lot of good,
Wow. Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, there's such brilliant musicians, songwriters, and they're so talented, and they're great guys. Just it was just our camaraderie was incredible. It was just really great to be around them all. And
Right.
every day we were just having a gas, man. You know,
Well, y'all, when y'all came to be uh, around the early '80s, and you're on MTV, and that was a big deal for back then. How did you think you compare to the bands that were on there right when they started? I mean, that rock sound, that kind of, you know, new wavy
yeah.
kind of thing going on. What was the comparison to the other bands, and how do you think you fit in?
Well, I don't know. I think we just kind of evolved, right at the cusp of the decade. Things were changing, you
Yeah,
know, and the beginning of new wave, was coming in, and um, and you were talking about being in the city and having access to all the bands that were playing every night. I
yeah,
mean, you were just seeing new styles and new ideas every night, and it was just really wonderful input. And I think that helped shaped us a bit too. Uh, I know as I look back and think back when we met Pete. Uh, Pete was actually at the time working with Carly Simon, but we went downtown to watch him play, and he was playing in just this giant uh, warehouse, and he was playing with like Debbie Harry. It
right,
was like, it was like really cool, big changes back then, and
yeah,
there was sort of that new wave movement was just sort of starting to happen, and what I believe was like in '80, record companies didn't just sign bands every day in 1980, in 1979, 1980. And we were one of the few bands that even got signed to an international record deal, right? But this
mm,
movement was coming in, new wave music. I think by 81, they released 15,000 records that year,
wow,
like, oh, yeah. So that
that's
was a lot of input. And
yeah.
yeah, the rest
Well,
is history. But
that's that was a booming time. I remember uh,
yeah,
for bands and new music, and it wasn't a dull time. But that I think after the disco was over, and then you had MTV, and you had these bands, and they're like, "We're gonna throw this at you," And
yeah,
I think weren't the fans kind of like that? Weren't your fans? They were kind of hungry for some kind of new sound or a new band that could bring some excitement to the table that's comparable to the other bands that you're
yeah.
talking about.
I think so. I think you're right. Like, well, the industry would sort of pigeonhole music, the sounds of the 70s, 80s, 90s, blah, blah, blah. But you were so right. We sort of was coming out of that disco era. And I think people were just sick of that. They just got to the place. Of course, everybody loves to dance, dancing's
Yeah,
cool. But the music was just a lot of the same, you know,
the drum.
regurgitated R&B. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, if they
Yeah,
had like a little bit, like a little sample, it's like eating pizza every day. Pizza's great, but if you eat it every day, it ain't
exactly.
so great. Uh,
Exactly.
well, tell me about that experience as far as MTV, and uh, that was a new thing for back in the day in the videos. Was it
It
fun
was,
to get to make videos and record and
oh
then
yeah, it was
TV?
really new because it was I mean, when we had to do the videos, we didn't even really know how to do videos and stuff, and it was all so new, you know. And
Yeah,
I really believe that I think we were on like within that first month that when Video Killed the Radio Star came out.
Yeah.
So we were there really early, and it was all new experience,
Right.
because we all played on the stage. We really didn't think about videos, and
Right.
it
Right.
wasn't our art form at that time. We were musicians. Of course, it
Well, you were,
developed over the years in a big way, but
yeah.
it was in its early stages then, for sure.
Well, you weren't trying to hide behind this big production of a video. The music spoke for itself, and people were like, "I like this."
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I think we were in one studio room, with the painted walls, and they brought a young model girl in, put tattoos all over, and we did the song Tattoo, and
Right.
she's just spinning around giving everybody a tattoo kiss. And then certainly tattoos took off in a big way after that. And then the Stones came out with Tattoo You,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You're talking about Video Killed the Radio Store. Those are some hokey videos back then. So I think anything that you would do was probably better than a lot of that stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
what do they
But
think?
it was so new. It was just great though, still,
It was a fun time.
Yeah.
Uh, well, that a band like I said with you guys with the talent, with all the history, everybody coming from different uh
Yeah.
areas, and not small names and big names that you played with.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
how did during that time it was a popular time for you, but how did you get from that moment? You were on a roll and y'all were uh climbing a mountain and getting to a certain pinnacle, I guess you could say. How did it
Yes.
kind of fall off, and what would you say was the number one reason why you didn't hit that big time that a lot of people did back then?
Uh, it was probably me. No.
You could take the blame.
Yeah, I'll take the blame. What was happening was a lot too much was happening at once, you know, and we learned that our management wasn't really that great.
Mm,
And so we had a few issues and problems here and there. And it was almost like we just got hit with a few smart bombs all at once and everything was just chaotic, And I,
mm.
I just wasn't that happy anymore with all the problems. And I was sort of being lured. I had some promises, record company promises, and you can do a solo thing and all that. Of course, none of it worked out. But
Sure.
so in that respect, it was I accept the blame.
Eh,
But we just had a lot of problems, and typical record industry problems. The record company didn't exactly do what they were supposed to do. Da, da, da. The manager didn't do what he was supposed to do, and then all of a sudden, everything just kind of blew up at once. Yeah.
right. I know that happens a lot. Some of these bands, they put out a few records and it's like there was no foundation. There was nothing solid. I think everybody around you probably was like, yep, just do what it takes to keep
Yeah.
you going. Um,
Yeah.
but that happened a lot. I know where bands were like, you heard them for a while and then they kind of went another way. But I know there were a lot of promises for, yeah, solo. These promises make you feel better, but it's kind of like, you know, it don't last. There is no concrete anything out there, right? Did you have hope?
Right.
What were your hopes in the middle of that as far as, with the success? I know you're on the Billboard charts and on MTV, and, you get to a certain, like I said, a plateau. What were your aspirations as far as everything after that point?
Oh, I don't know. Just as a musician, I've just felt like I wanted more autonomy. I wanted to be involved more. I too was writing a lot of songs, and I had an idea myself that I wanted to get out. But we all did, and that's another thing about the band. Everybody's so talented in that band.
Yeah,
And finding that equal balance, when we were really good at it actually, but it still ended up getting us in the end. And from that time on, I still think we all felt like we had unfinished business. They they replaced me with Carlos Rios, who came from Gino Vanelli's band. Brilliant guitar player, really brilliant guitar player. Um, and then they were produced by Elliot Shiner, who was Steely Dan, that type of thing. So anyway, both of those guys sort of polished them up a little bit, and their music, it got very slick and refined, you know, and I just think something was missing, and I guess most people did, uh, because I have an edge. I like to rock, you know,
Right.
I like to rock hard, but I'm not the heavy metal type rock or whatever, I come up through the Page Hendrix era and that kind of. I just like good songs that have rock guitar part,
Right.
and I don't know, we had so much to say it, so now here we are. We have like I think 4 new songs, right? We have
Right.
a few remakes, and then we have a couple live pieces on this album that we're able to put together, and the album rocks. I'm real proud of it. See,
It's
you don't really know what's happening when you're in the middle of it working on it. You just know you're working on it, and you enjoy doing it because the music's coming together. But then when you get it done, you kind of get away from it, and you hear the whole thing, and it's just like, wow, you know, we did
right.
that, you know,
Right.
and it's
We did
really great. But when you play with people like Michael and Steven and Pete, it's easy. They're just so good, you just, you know,
a lot of years experience and a lot of great musicians there.
yes, yes.
Well, it had been so many years since y'all had been together. So, what was it like to work on this after all these years? Did you reminisce and talk about the good old days? How did that work out?
Yeah, it was just like being back. We were just like back in the room again, doing it again. And it was wonderful. It's hard to explain how nice it was because I just love those guys so much, and I loved our music. And it was just like we were back, same as ever. And of course, we were switching ideas. Well, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And we'd test things. And sometimes, it'd be like, no, that's not cool. And sometimes it'd be, oh, I love that, and well, what
Right.
do you think? Well, I like it. I like it too. Let's do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what's the first single, Everything It Takes to Be Happy? What's the story behind that song?
Well, that was Pete's song. Um, I don't know. He had that one for a while, even before he hooked up with us, and we had the great arrangement on it, and we didn't put it on the first album. And I was like, wow, man, that's such a great song. Why didn't we put it on the album? And I liked it so much, I even did a solo record, and I asked Pete if I could do the song. I put it on my solo record,
Cool.
and I don't know. Then later, I guess they decided like, well, we do need to get this out there because it really is a good song. Yeah, and just I don't know, say, it's just good pop music, and Pete is a brilliant writer, and he just had a great song there. Plus, Pete sings so well too, so it's he can certainly be a highlight of a song, no doubt. Yeah.
Was it like, I mean, when you're doing the newer songs, um, that there's a certain spark though, when you go back and listen to it. Did you go back and kind of listen to some of your older stuff and kind of compare the sounds, or how did you do that?
Only the older stuff that we had in the can. All the new stuff, we just did it, you know. And I remember people making remarks like, wow, you guys just picked up where you left off. You just sound like the same, you know. And it really did, you know.
Right. I guess
Like I
that's.
I could introduce an idea and the the song that Pete sang on "Don't Throw Your Love Away." You know, I had that song recorded. I had most of the music recorded, and I sent out to Michael. Michael put a drum track on it, you know, and it was that just made it pop. It was just incredible. After that, Stephen
Right.
put the bass track on, and then Pete put vocals on it. I had this vocal track on it. I was never really that happy with it myself. I wanted to do it over, but they were saying, "Oh man, it's good. Leave it, do it." And then Pete added the bridge and put a double on it, so he sang a higher range than me. But his voice just was like the icing on the cake, and it just made the song really nice. And it turned out to be a really good song.
Awesome.
Kind
Well,
of, kind of put us in a more progressive rock range, I think maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's been some of the reaction as far as the fans and I know you talked a little bit about it, but as far as reviews of the album and how it compares to the old days, or
Yeah.
the excitement, what do they say?
So far, it's been great. We've been getting a lot of positive feedback, you know, and the people like it and they're buying it, and I'm really happy about that for certain. And it's really a good record, you know, it really is. And I, I just love the music and people. I love the feedback because it's so positive and like we were on social media and everything, and then we get all these comments, and
Yeah,
it's it's really great to see that people dig it the way they do.
right.
But a lot of the compliments are based on the fact that you guys sound the same as ever, you know, and it's so good that so much time can go by and you guys can get back together and do this again and all that kind of stuff, you know. And it's really true. It's a great thing for us. And
Right.
after
Well,
so
there's
many years, you know, it's a good blessing that we get to do it.
yeah. Well, there's no MTV like it used to be. There's no Casey Kasem going, here's a new song. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you depending on social media and people like these
We're in
interviews,
a
you
we're in
know.
a DIY world now, you know. You just got to put it out there and go with it, you know. Uh, my friend and I, Randy Brown, he worked on the record, and we're putting a studio together. So that your little tour
Cool,
here, we're totally
cool,
avid pro, and you know we're ready. I got to show you this. It's really cool. We just got our diffuser made.
cool.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
it's got the Beatles in there. Cool.
Oh,
We haven't
wow.
hung it on the wall yet.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
and
good. Cool spot, man. Wow.
yeah. So I think the idea today with musicians is you have to house your own program.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be able to produce your own product, audio and video. You know,
And that's okay, right? It's okay to
yeah,
be like that.
yeah.
Oh,
It's just business. You know, but
yeah,
record company, it's just business. You know,
right.
so
No, it works. It,
in the long run, hopefully it'll prove to even be better for us. You know,
right.
I hope.
Well, what's your intentions as far as what about playing live? Is there going to be any live shows? Are you going to do anything like that?
Well, you know, I'm never going to say never, but it's not going to be right away. You know, Michael's had a few health issues. We had back surgery, but he's still playing. He's still getting on okay, but he can't overstress it still. You know, and the way we play and doing a night set would be a little hard for him still right now. And you know what I'm talking about because you've also had some back pain.
I can totally relate.
Yeah,
I would
it's
not be
pretty
able to
hard.
would not be able to
Yeah,
play drums for a
yeah.
set. Wow.
But we're certainly hoping that his recovery comes quick. And then, you know, like I said, I'm not going to say never. You know, it could happen.
Yeah. Well, I believe. Uh, what about more music? I know this is like testing the waters and showing people you're still around. You got some good stuff. What about the
Yeah.
future? I know you got a good recording studio there. What
Well,
about the future?
I just heard in an interview that Pete and Steven did that they're contemplating the idea about putting an EP together with four brand new songs,
Yeah.
which would be great for me. I'd love to do it. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
We have tons of material between us. I mean, each one of us probably have 100 songs.
Is that all?
Yeah, it's true. And so you wade through it and like, well, what are the better songs? That's kind of how it
That's
goes.
good. That when you've got that variety, you can go through there and listen and go pick out your favorite ones. And then if you want to release 10 more albums, it's like you can do that, right? You don't have to wait. You've already got these ideas.
Yeah, we have a lot of ideas, and plus, we're still growing even at our age, and we're still growing. We're still coming up with new stuff all the time, and good stuff, even better, really. You know,
Right.
so
Um,
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to produce some new music.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, talking about the old days of with all the guys y'all played with and opening up for like Cheap Trick and The Who, right?
Mm.
Huh. So what was that like? I mean, that's one of my favorite bands, Cheap Trick. Or those are some fun guys to be around.
I love those guys. It's just great being around them. You know, uh, Tom Peterson and Robin, they're just the coolest guys. And of course, Pete Townsend. Pete is Pete.
Oh,
He's just so
that's crazy.
such a
Oh,
magnificent character. It's just great to be just stand next to him. It's
yeah,
real.
right. Well, they can say the same thing about you. You've been around and played with a lot of different people. They had to
Yeah.
have faith and trust in you to be a great guitar player. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
so
Thank you for saying that, but I guess there might be something to that. I
gotta be. You don't just show up one day and go, you know, I'm good, and you play, and that, you work your way up and you prove yourself.
Yeah.
Uh,
See, I was a kid, grew up in Charleston, West Virginia, small town, and of course I played and toured all my life. I played professionally even since I was 9 years old.
wow.
I played strip clubs when I was 13.
Wow.
Uh, they made me go in the back room, of course, but I could play, so I'd get these gigs, and I just played all my life. And then when I went to New York, and uh, like one of the first gigs, we played in a nightclub in town called Trax, and who's there but Mick Jagger and Jerry Hall just sitting 10 feet in front of me, and I'm going, oh Lord. Yeah, it was kind of on the spot, and he was so cool. He bounced up to me later and said, "You don't have to make it so hard." So that was an awakening right there. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Wow.
it's really cool.
Yeah, just casually talking to Mick, he comes up and does his lips and what's going
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That
yeah. He was great. I mean, it's great being around him. So wise. The guy's so wise, and he knows so much about music, and especially blues music. He's a walking encyclopedia. He really is.
well, have
Same
you?
with Michael. Playing with Michael. Michael.
Oh
Michael
yeah,
knows every drum beat there is. I mean, he'll say, "Oh, this was so and so from Detroit." Kick
yeah.
this beat out, and you're going, "Wow." He just like it. He's
Okay.
amazing. Yeah.
I was watching him and Greg Raleigh um, from the Woodstock days. There was a clip or something, and
Yeah.
I was blown away by just that sound. There was nobody like that. See, and all you guys, when you came together, nobody sounded like y'all separately.
Right.
And then when you
Right.
came together, nobody sounded like you. So there had to be a certain magic, and you probably looked at each other and smiled when you started playing, right? And you're like, this might
I
work.
think I think that was the realization after the fact is we said, wow, man, we really do have something there. There's something to us. That's why the other guitar player didn't work out because they got too slick and polished. Now, mind you, it was fantastic music. That second record's incredible, you know. But the record company didn't work it, so it didn't happen for him. But I think we all realized that thing, that just certain thing that had a certain edge, that we had it, and that wow, it's a miracle. It really is. It's a beautiful thing when it happens.
Sure.
And I don't know. I get the same feeling, just like I said, every time I'm around. And we did a Zoom call the other night, and it's just so much love and camaraderie there. I just love seeing them all there. And
Bunch of guys.
we
Uh,
worked so hard. We practiced every day. We worked so hard, and it was so good because we were always progressing. I just love that, and I think we all did really.
what did you look back, or do you look back sometimes and wonder what might have been if y'all kind of lasted through those years? You'd have missed out on some other stuff that you did a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. All of y'all. What do you ever look back and go, we could have done a few more albums and things might have been different?
Well, I think so, maybe to some degree. I think that was the nucleus, that was the fire burning in us that got us back together now, because we knew we had good music, and it was just so good for us. I mean, even to feel that music again, and uh, it was our fuel that we needed too. So, I think that was the inspiration. We just got back together and did it because we wanted to. We really wanted to. And we believed in it. So,
Right,
but I think that was the spark, man. That was the fire in our guts. We knew that we actually had something. And
right. And that's good that, to be around through all these years, you're all still alive, you're still kicking. I mean,
yeah,
Big Jack,
rocking big time.
I mean,
Everybody's still playing.
yeah,
Yeah,
nobody,
Michael just released a record called Drums of Compassion, a percussion record. It's just beautiful. I think he's up for like Grammy nominations and all that. I mean, he's just a genius. I mean, he really is. And like I
yeah,
said, he's a walking encyclopedia of beats. And so any groove that you'd throw at him, he would just be all over it. Same way with Stephen and Pete. It was like our language was just the same.
yeah,
We spoke. You could introduce an idea, and then they would just already know where it was going. You know,
right,
and that's great. When you play with that kind of musicianship, that quality musicianship, you're unstoppable.
right.
I
Not
think we
everybody,
had that.
that's a certain trait that that people are talented. They just start jamming on some things and you go, wow, where'd that come from?
I'm serious. We would just jam, and we'd come up in three parts in one jam. We just know we would seek the second part, get it, and then seek the third part in one jam, and have this incredible piece of music ready to go for a song.
Right,
Yeah. And
it's
at
great.
that point, just be putting the vocals on it.
Right,
Yeah, they're brilliant musicians. It's a great joy to be with them again. Yeah.
right. And, you know, when you were looking, when the band first came together and you knew everybody's history, what bands they played with, you know, was it, did you have this idea of what it would sound like? I mean, did you think, how are we going to compact this? It's like having an all-star team, uh, and then coming together and making music.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story. The Police had just come out with all that stuff, Roxanne and Walking on the Moon and all that. And I was one of the lucky ones that the day Roxanne, now this is his documented history, the day Roxanne was released, they played in a small nightclub in Charleston, and it was called the Galaxy. There were probably 40, 50 people in there, right?
Right. Right.
And I was one of them. So I got to sit right up in front of them in a very intimate way and watch them work. Now, at that time, I had been in a band, another band called Skiffle. I'd been in that band for like 5 years, and we rehearsed every day, and we were super tight. So all I did was play, you know. And anyway, that band broke up. I just saw the Police play the Galaxy, and then I split to LA for a while. So I'm out there, and I had a few gigs, but I didn't really dig it. And so at that time, you could fly LA to Miami, Florida for $75 round
Wow.
trip, round
Wow.
trip.
Yeah,
So anyway,
dude.
I went over. I went over to Miami to hang out, and I answered an ad called Rags to Riches, and they were looking for a guitar player to do a hotel band thing. So I needed money, so I thought I'd try to get this gig to pay rent. Anyway, so I answered the audition, and I went down, played for him, and uh, so anyway, one of the engineers there says, "Jack," he says, "you're pretty good, man. Michael Shreves and Stephen Dees are going to audition guitar players here tomorrow. You should come down and play." And I was like, "Oh my God, like sure, like Michael Shreve, you know,
You're right.
Carlos is drummer,
Yeah.
like how intimidating, right?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, sure, right." And truth be known, I probably would have never gone for the audition. But anyway, so I went back to where I was staying that evening, and I get a phone call, and Stephen Dees called me. He said, "Hey man, talk to John, man. He says you're pretty good. Why don't you come down and jam with us tomorrow?" So I was
Wow.
like, "All right." So I was on the spot, and I had to, right? And it was just great. It was just great. And they were telling me, like they're saying, "Well, we want to do a reggae thing, some more reggae Latin kind of stuff, and rock it." And I said, "Yeah," and because like how the Police are doing it. And I was like, "Well, I got that." I saw them very loud and clear one night, So
Right.
plus I was really well practiced at the time, so there wasn't anything they did that impressed me that I couldn't do anyway. You know what I mean? So, uh, Andy's a great guitar player, but he and I both came up through playing fusion, jazz fusion.
Yeah.
So we're both very studied, and I get it. And
Right.
so anyway, we jam. We're drinking Cuban espresso and getting a caffeine buzz, and just jammed all day long. So I was like, well, let's go on. I said, "Well, you want to come back and jam again tomorrow?" "Yeah." So I go back and jam the next day. Same thing, jam all day long. Third day, all day long. "You want to come back and jam again tomorrow?" "Yeah." So 4 days in a row we jammed, and then Michael said, "Hey man, we're going to put a band together. You want to be in it?" I was like, "Great, yes." So 2 days later, I'm in New York City. Yeah,
So
and we were
cool.
living at 45 West 55th Street and putting Novo Combo together. Now, we had been there quite a while because we auditioned a lot of guitar players, and we were tired of we had auditioned so many guitar players, and we just didn't really find anybody. And um, Michael, in the last minute, goes, "Well, I'm gonna put one more guy on the list." He puts Pete's name on the list. And he came in that evening and absolutely was incredible. He just blew
Wow.
us all. He blew us all away. We knew right then and there we'd found the fourth mate.
Awesome.
So that's pretty much how it began.
So
And that's
cool.
the origin of 45 West 55th Street, from where I was coming from.
Right. And of
Stephen
course,
had been there. Stephen had been there for quite a while, and of course Michael had been there for quite a while. And I think Bill Coyne, a famous manager, Michael was asking him if he knew of a good bass player, and Bill Coyne turned Michael on to Stephen, and then they got together. And so I guess they left the city to go to Miami to audition guitar players, and there I was.
cool.
And very happy about it. It was great.
Yeah, Bill a coin. I recognize him from Kiss. Uh,
Exactly. Yeah.
but there are some big names surrounding you. You're talking about it earlier about all the people that would listen to you. It was
Mhm.
one tight knit group of people that checked each other out. That had to make
Yeah.
you feel good to, like you
Yes.
talking about earlier, for people that you've admired for years, and they're checking you out and going, but you have a certain reputation from the previous bands, and then I guess the guys that you're playing with kind of help too. You're playing with
Oh
Michael,
yeah, in a big way. Michael, I mean, Michael knew everybody, Michael played with the Stones and Jagger, and
everybody.
so he actually, I think, he was working on emotional rescue, and that was about that time. And so uh, he would take me down, and I would get to visit Chris Kimsey, and then uh, I'm in the studio, and I'm sitting there with Chris and Michael, and then this shadow came over me, and I looked, and it was Jagger. And that was like I was in the city only about like 2 weeks. The first thing I do is meet Mick Jagger. It was like overwhelming, like wow. And but Michael knew everybody, and because of him, he certainly introduced us to everybody. It was pretty wonderful. I lost you there. I think I lost your voice. Yeah, I've lost your voice. Can you test again? Are you there? I can't hear you. Sorry. I don't know. Maybe did you hit your mute button by chance? Yes. Okay. Hello?
Is that better?
I can hear it now. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
something happened. Oh,
You just disappeared. I could see you, but I couldn't hear you.
uh, well, the new album though, you know, what a way to celebrate the career, and you're still going. That's got to be awesome. How can everybody get a copy of that?
Oh, okay. Well, novocombo.com, Wild Roots Records. I guess it's on iTunes, Spotify, all those places. It's available. Just go to novocombo.com. You can get it right there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Novo Combo. That is a cool name. How did you come up with that name, the Novo Combo? Sounds like a Whopper. I want the Novo Combo.
Well, I have my version of the idea. Um, we were sitting at Michael's, and there's a little round table there, glass table, and we were all sitting there trying to come up with names. And Michael was into Novo and Nuvo. He kind of wanted some kind of Latin vibe. And Stephen was into combo. He was into that like rockabilly combo kind of vibe. And he had written this great song called Shake This Place. So he was into that kind of cool. And anyway, so they wanted something like da da da, like Steely Dan. And anyway, so they're sitting there talking about combo, Novo combo, and I jokingly said, just call it Novo combo. And Michael wrote it in his book, but it's immediately like, nah. I knew right away I wasn't going to name the band, but I was
But
just trying to appease what was the conversation going on between them. We'll just do both of them then.
it worked.
And well, it didn't for a while because I think we became the Shakers for a little while. And then they wanted to change that. And then we became Soldier for a little while. And we did an interstate rights thing on that. And we found a band had the name. And, I think Steven said they even asked us, please don't take our name. Let us use it. So we agreed not to use Soldier. And then one day Michael came in and said, I found this name in my book I wrote down. It's called Novo Combo. So Michael thought of it.
Yeah, right. That's the
Right.
that's the ticket.
Anyway, yeah, it was a good name. We're glad to have it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you talking to me today. I'm sorry I'm like laying down with my back. Yeah, I could totally
No, I'm
relate.
sorry, man. That's the worst pain. I
Oh,
feel sorry for you, mate.
it's like sciatica type stuff, and
Right.
I've never had stuff like that before, and it kind of
Got a
hit.
good chiropractor. Get a good
I,
chiropractor,
I
man.
need that. Definitely going to do that.
They
Uh,
can work wonders. They really can. They can align your spine and everything.
yeah, I need
Yeah.
that in my life. Uh, but I do appreciate talking to. The music sounds great, and I'm was like you with the fans and saying that it sounds the same. You can't really tell that it's like the same sound. It's not like you ate, you know,
I know.
40
It's
years.
just we just came right back together and we were just right in the same place, you know. It's
So cool.
beautiful. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you talking to me, and
I appreciate you, mate. Thank you, guy.
all right, man. Well, we'll see you later.
Okay, Gary. Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
Jack. Bye. And there he is, Jack Griffith. Cool guy. Had a great conversation. Brand new album. Pick it up now. 45 West 55th from Novo Combo. You'll love it. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, everybody. Always remember to keep the music real.